Actually, everyone within hearing of my voice, please take out your cell phone and check your cell phone. Well done. And as you're looking at it, as you're checking your text messages, as you're updating your status update on Facebook, as you're tweeting about how awesome my talk is at Propeller right now, I want you to contemplate this. Every single day, we are all graduating into a more and more challenging environment to hold anybody's attention anytime. Anyone's attention anytime. So the tools that you have to actually keep someone's attention are more valuable than ever. And one of those key ones is the oldest tool that you have. It's how you speak. It's actually talking. So I'm here today to talk about talking. And in fact, I'm here to talk about how you can use your body and kinesthetic learning to speak more effectively. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a guy, and he had to try to make money by saying stuff. He had to pitch, in effect. And he was bad at it. In fact, the more he practiced, the worse he got. And he was trapped in something that I call the vicious cycle of bad communication. It goes like this. Are you ready? He was nervous, so he would break eye contact. And when he would look down, he would not get nonverbal feedback, so he didn't know what to change. And when he didn't know what to change, he spoke in a monotone. And when he spoke in a monotone, he didn't need much breath. And when he didn't need much breath, his voice went down like that. And then soon he felt nervous because he wasn't breathing at all. And his communication went down and down and down and down. So he comes to me and he said, I want to improve in communication. I said, let me give you one thing. Our goal is to find one thing that you can do to be more effective. Not think about, not feel, but do to communicate more effectively. And it's actually the same goal I have for us today. I would like each of you to leave here with one thing that you can use to communicate more effectively, either yourself or help someone communicate more effectively. And if I do my job well, if I do my job very well, you will only take your smartphones out maybe once in the next 10 to 12 minutes. We'll see how we do. When I'm talking about communication, there's many pitfalls that I see people fall into. Now, why am I qualified to be up in the first place? Who am I, and why is this guy talking to me about talking? My name is Michael Chad Hoeppner, and I run a company called Genuine Know-How. And it's called that because that's what we strive to give people. Know-how, actual things they can do to come across as their most genuine selves. I coach people in the Fortune 1000. I work with international law firms. I teach at Columbia Business School in the MBA and the PhD program. And I coach the faculty on their front-of-room delivery, how they manage a classroom. I work with CEOs to high school students and everybody in between. And the fascinating thing about that is that in all those groups, in all that strata of society, all those people I work with, people struggle with the same things, which is strange, isn't it? Because in theory, communication should be very easy. In fact, it should be like hiring someone to help you learn how to chew food. But even that is a dumb analogy because kids actually have to learn how to chew food. We come into the world communicating perfectly. The first thing a healthy baby does when it's born is let out a big fat scream to let us know that it's here and none too happy about it. We actually have to learn how to swallow food. I have an 11-month-old daughter, by the way, so I'm up close and personal with how babies do and do not swallow food right now. And trust me, it's not that well. So my question to you is, how do we get so messed up with something that should be innate and easy, like communicating? And the answer is 3 places: the world, ourselves, and other people. Now, the world, a lot of it has to do with those things you're sitting in right now. Chairs mess us up terribly, but that's a subject for a whole different talk. The second place is ourselves, like the person I described who was stuck in a negative pattern when pitching, and he was his own worst enemy. But the third place is actually from other people. Other people mess us up all the time. How? By sabotaging us? No. Very, very rarely. Actually, it's often by trying to help us. Which is ironic, isn't it? Because nobody wins with bad communication. There is no startup in the history of startups who ever said, you know what, I cannot wait to pitch this VC, go on too long, speak in a monotone, and stare into my slides the whole time. Just like no venture capitalist has ever thought, I cannot wait for this startup to go on too long, speak in a monotone, and talk into their slides the whole time. People want to excel, and other people want to help them excel. but they don't always know how. Let me give you an example. If I were to say to you, you have a big pitch coming up tonight. If I were to say to you, you have to present or do something with your mouth to achieve something, say some words to win something. And if I were to say to you, hey, listen, in the back row where you're lounging back there with the sunglasses, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous tonight. Just don't be nervous. Would that be useful? The answer is no. Everyone's shaking their head. No, it would not be. That's thought suppression. It's the same thing as don't think about a pink elephant. And it turns out humans are terrible at thought suppression. A colleague of mine at Columbia, a guy named Adam Galinsky, has studied this. And if you tell a bicyclist, don't hit that rock, are they more or less likely to hit the rock? Yeah, people whisper, more. Yeah, that's exactly right. More likely to hit the rock. So if don'ts aren't useful, what actually is useful? What is useful is teaching people kinesthetically to use their bodies in a different way, to learn skills through muscle memory and change habits and retain those habits forever. All right, so what the heck am I talking about? Let's go back to that guy who had to try to pitch and win some money by saying some words. Remember at the beginning of my talk? This was the beginning of his pitch. Let's hear it. All right, hi, my name is Frank, and I have a company. It's blah, 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 and I'm hoping to raise $25 million. What happened just there? The first two words out of his mouth are all right and The name of his company is garbled because guess what? He's thought about that name for 1,000,000 trillion bazillion years. He's been thinking about that name, sleeping about that name, dreaming about the name of his company, but we all just heard it for the first time. And finally, at the end of the sentence, his entire voice trails off like that. Now, would it be helpful to tell this guy, Frank, you know what? In this pitch today, don't be nervous, just be yourself. Would that be helpful? No. He's already nervous, and he doesn't know who he is in that particular moment because he's scared and nervous as all get out. So what would be helpful? We gave him a stack of Lego blocks, and we said, Frank, at the end of every single sentence, I want you to stack a Lego block together. Talk, 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 stack. Talk, 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 stack. Talk, 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 stack. Now what happens there? All of a sudden, for the first time, he's living in one idea at one time instead of 10 ideas at the same time. Fast forward, by the way, this is a guy who has created a great company. The company is called Physiclo, and I know this because I coached him over the last 3 weeks. And last night at NYU Incubator, he actually won a flash pitch competition and got $1,000 worth of free swag at Amazon and won the competition. Good job, Frank. That is, yeah, exactly. A little applause for Frank. That is not meant to impress you about me, nor him, although it is a cool company. You should check it out. It is meant to impress upon you how important his communication is. So how did he change it? Instead of, hi, my name is Frank, and I want to tell you about Physiclo, he changed radically both what he said and how he said it. And I'm going to tell you those two things in just a minute. Before I do that, though, I want to talk about a couple other things that I see people do that messes them up terribly as communicators and specific ways to change that. So these are the big 3 ways I see people mess themselves up all the time. The first is this: they're not in command of what they're actually saying. If you know that you say a lot, or like, or kinda, or sorta, or basically, or literally, or viscerally, or any of these other words that you say all the time, filler language is not a problem. It's not a capital P problem, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of not being in as much command of your language as you could be. So as opposed to telling yourself, don't say don't say like, instead I want you to try this. I want you to take your fingers, like that old Yellow Pages ad, which no one knows because I'm dating myself. You guys are all too young for that. Anyway, leave that aside. I want you to let your fingers do the walking across a surface. And I actually want you to choose each and every single word as specifically as your fingers were the feet of an Olympic gymnast walking down a balance beam. And I actually want to try that together right now, which is this. You all have some question that you should ask somebody. Give me $100 million. Give me $10 million. There's some question you should ask somebody. Maybe it's a question you shy away from asking. In business, it might be called making the close. And I actually want you to do this, either on your leg, if you're sitting right there, or on your arm. I want you to walk your fingers forward, one word at a time, and I want you to say softly, out loud, those specific words of that question. Are you ready? I'll ask a question so you hear something in the background too. You ready? Everybody, finger walking, and ready? Go ahead. Say some question, word by word, as you walk your leg forward. Now, what I've just done is embedded this idea in your bodies by having you do a muscle memory experience. So hopefully you remember this idea of linguistic precision. Now, can you do that in meetings? Can you walk your hands across the desk? No, you can't do that in a meeting. But if you master that skill, that level of linguistic precision, you can leave the drill aside and retain that precision. The second way I see people mess themselves up all the time is they don't share language that you can see and taste and feel, language that connects with people. So let's go back to Frank for a second with his clothing company, Physiclo. And this company, what they do is they put resistance bands into clothes, so your workouts are more intense, all right? But his initial pitch after, hi, my name is Frank, and I run Physiclo, and after that part, the next sentence was this: we seek to leverage the power and efficiency of resistance training outerwear to drive more effective workouts over the length of any given workout. So we worked with that a little bit, and this is what we got to eventually. If you were exercising on the moon, would it be easy? And if you were exercising on the bottom of the ocean, would it be hard? Well, our pants help you feel like you're exercising on the bottom of the ocean, but you're actually on the moon. You get it. We're playing around with language. People can see and taste and feel. So if you have a product out there, an idea, a company, a product, anything at all, challenge yourself. Think about, how can I put this into metaphor or image or story in a way that it connects to people? The third and final way that I see people mess themselves up a lot as communicators is this: they go into a mode. Now, we all know the mode. I work with lawyers. Lawyers have a mode. I work with academics. Academics have a mode. I work with scientists. Scientists have a mode. I even work with startups, and startups have a mode. And the mode is this: they use less of themselves to communicate. I know this intimately recently because my company recently launched a internet coaching tool called Pitch Tutor, where people submit videos and get evaluated. Now, the videos are all exactly the same. They look like this. You ready? Hey, how's it going? I want some help with this video, and here's my pitch, and I think it gets messed up at the end, but the beginning's great, and I like that, so I'm going to do it for you now, and then please give me any thoughts, any feedback is absolutely welcome. Thank you. Hi, would you be surprised to find out that 21% of young adults don't actually participate in the economy the way in which you would like? And they shift into this mode. So if you know this about yourself, that at times in high-pressure situations, or maybe even not in high-pressure situations, you switch into a mode, you become more monotone or more static, or the people you support do this, I want you to try the following drill. I want you to give that pitch, that talk, that presentation, whatever it might be, but I want you to give it doing something I call silent storytelling. You have to do the whole thing, but you have to channel your best Milli Vanilli or Britney Spears, and you're going to lip sync your entire presentation. You get to use all of your body, all of your expressions, all of your facial expressions. You're going to actually mouth the words, but you're not going to use your vocal cords, not even a little bit. You're going to try that for a while, and after you've done that some, you're going to add voice back into it. And I promise when you do that, all of a sudden you'll experience your voice in a different, more varied way. If you've heard an interesting drill today that sounds useful to you in some way, great, use it, take it, have fun with it. But even if you haven't, I want to give you this call to action. If you have something that you know you could do better as a communicator, challenge yourself to find a kinesthetic way to work on it. When I say kinesthetic, I mean make your body behave in a different way. Someone asked me a question about this recently, and they said, you know, I inflect up at all of my sentences, no matter what I'm talking about, and at the end I turn everything into a question all the time, and do you have anything that can help me with that? Because I'm really trying to break that habit, and I hear that people think it's kind of annoying when I talk like that. So I said, take a stack of Post-it notes, and at the end of all of your thoughts or your sentences, I want you to smooth down a Post-it note on the final word. So as opposed to saying, I'm Ron Burgundy, you would say, I'm Ron Burgundy. See, now I'm really dating myself. That's Anchorman, nothing from the front row or anything. I got 1 applause, that's good. The final thing I want to say about this is this. If I've challenged you, you're thinking even a little bit about communication today, great. Try something. Try one of these kinesthetic ways to alter what you do or improve what you already do quite well. You can follow us on Twitter. It's @GenuineKnowHow. And ask us a question. We'll send you a resource. Facebook works as well. But beyond that, I want you to think of this. If you've learned something cool, interesting, unique, bizarre, strange, fun today, if you go home and you use this, you use a Lego drill, you do some finger walking, you try one of these experiments, and you get better, no one is going to say, oh, I bet they attended that cool talk, that weird talk that guy Michael Hoeppner at Genuine Know-How gave, or the remote pitching tool he uses, Pitch Tutor. They're going to say, that person's really on their game today. Wow, that's cool. They're better, they're smarter. They really care about their company. That was a hell of a story they told. They will give the credit to you. So I encourage you to take one of these ideas, one of these tools, one of these drills, and see how far you can go. Thanks very much.